Well, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry has strongly defended the nuclear deal with Iran. He says further pressure on Iran would not have produced any result.
I know that there are those who will assert that this deal is imperfect. Well, they too bear a responsibility, and that is to tell people what the better alternative is. Some might say we should simply continue to increase pressure, just turn up the screws, continue to put sanctions on, and somehow that's going to push Iran towards capitulation or collapse. Not by any interpretation that we have from all the experts and all of the input that we have and from all of the countries, the P5+1 that took place in this today. None of them believe that would be the outcome. In 2003, when the Iranians made an offer to the former administration with respect to their nuclear program, there were 164 centrifuges. That offer was not taken. Subsequently, sanctions came in, and today there are 19,000 centrifuges and growing. So people have a responsibility to make a judgment about this choice. And I am comfortable, as is President Obama, that we have made the right choice.
Press TV's Homa Lesgi joins us now from Geneva, Switzerland. Homa, welcome to the program again. It's been a quite eventful a few hours earlier in the morning there in Geneva. Bring us up to speed on some of the details that have been released, the precise details regarding the plan of action, and also walk us through the various press conferences that have taken place, most notably the one by Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif and also a U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry.
Right, first I'll start with the remarks that we heard by John Kerry in that press conference, the U.S. Secretary of State. He just said there that the option of pressure on Iran and further pressure on Iran has not been working, and the Obama administration concluded that this option would not work anymore. In the press conference that the Iranian foreign minister had with the Iranian media personnel, he said that this is in itself an achievement for Iran. He said Iran wanted the West to realize, wanted the US, the E3+3, to realize that the option of further pressure on Tehran, further sanctions on Tehran, is not going to work. The only way to interact with Iran is to have mutual respect, to have talks based on an equal footing. He described this as a major achievement for the Iranian people, the Iranian nation. As to the terms, the exact terms of a deal, first of all, I have to mention that Mr. Zarif said that we will be given more details and the text of the deal throughout the coming hours and days, so we will be able to look into detail at what exactly has been agreed on. But he said that it is, as you say, an action plan. It's based on three parts. First, he said the objectives have been lined out, then the rather guarantees by both sides, the promises that have been made by both sides. He was asked about the amount of sanctions relief. He said that sanctions have been eased in various sectors, including the petrochemical sector. He said financial trade, several banks. He also mentioned the auto industry and the gold trade. And he said that part of the frozen assets of Iran are also going to be returned to the country. And he was saying that the amount of sanctions relieved on Iran are very significant according to Iranians. And he was saying that when he was asked about the additional protocol to, as you know, which calls for further and snap inspections by the IAEA inspectors of Iran's nuclear site, he said that aspect, the additional protocol, first has to be approved by the Iranian parliament. So we haven't, he said, in that deal approved yet the implementation of the additional protocol by Iran, because that requires a vote by the Iranian parliament according to Iranian law. However, he did say that Iran is going to reduce the level of enrichment to 5%, and he said that no nuclear site in Iran is going to be closing down or is going to be stopping its activities. He referred to the Arak plant, he referred to the Fordo enrichment plant, and he said that the activities in these two plants are going to continue. They're not going to change. He said the number of centrifuges in these plants are not going to change as well. So he was describing this deal as the same, he said, as the initial deal that the two sides discussed during the previous round of talks in Geneva. He said, if you remember, Benjamin Netanyahu called that deal a deal of the century for Iran, a bad deal he called it. Mrs. Zarif said this is the same deal that's on the table, and we proved to the E3+3 that this is the deal that they should agree on, despite the pressure that they're facing from the likes of Israel.
Thank you very much. Press TV's Homa Lezgi joining us from Geneva, Switzerland.